Morgs wants to move on. We all want to move on, but we can't until we get closure. So let's get straight to it, then. The 80th minute of the game, the match on the line. The series is on the line in this moment. Now, Hugo Keenan, the Irishman, shapes the outside, gets past the Nicky Towell, and then we go back for this, which becomes one of the most talked about breakdown non-penalties in the history of the game. Where do we want to start? Someone has to start.
Start with the expert who knows what's going on. Hoops.
Look, I'm no expert. I've put my head in a couple of those. Look, I mean, after seeing it now a million times, what it seems like, I think the clean out in terms of the area of contact, yeah, you probably could pick it up about 30 times across the game. So I'd say that's a play on. I'd say the way he just straight off his feet allows for no contest. Straight off feet there is not a legal clean out, so I think it is a penalty. I said that after the match. Interestingly, I did also talk with Martin Johnson post-match in the coverage. If that was minute 1, is that a penalty? Because there's no game on the line. Do we referee on context? It opens up a heap more questions. So I think it probably is a penalty. I've seen less clean-outs penalised for that. I'm saying that, yeah, I think he is off feet, and that's why the clean-out was so effective.
No comment.
I'll go 2 versus 1 to start with. It depends on what shirt you're wearing. You know, to start with. If you're wearing the gold shirt, it's a penalty. If you're wearing the red shirt, it's obviously not. For me, it was the word of simultaneous, and I think the actions by Morgan weren't simultaneous because he knew he'd lost the breakdown because Tizano was there just an instant before him. So, yeah, his body weight was going, as we teach the kids, you go from down to high, you do that plane takeoff. He was going high to low. So apart from, take away where the contact was, I think it could have been a penalty for off the feet more than anything else. So
we agree?
Oh, we agree. Absolutely, yeah, we agree. You're going to get those ones, yeah, and that's the one. And this is the discrepancy of what it is. So the last part is more to the point of what you said about minute 1 to minute 80. Is there more emphasis on the minute 80 chance for a penalty, but more so how quickly it was dismissed by the referee? I mean, I thought that had to be maybe looked at maybe a little bit more. If they had their options to say, let's go through it again and work it through, maybe they could have got a different result. But I think it went a bit too quickly to get the end result. In the end, the history book says it wasn't, and they scored the try. The try was legit, and we are now 2-love down. So then, series gone. I thought it could have been a penalty in some way, shape or form.
For me, I mean, look, you take 100 rucks across a game of rugby, 99 times out of 100, that is not a penalty for me.
It doesn't make it right, though.
I know it doesn't make it right.
Ones haven't been.
Okay, and therein lies the grey area, doesn't it, at the area of the ruck? And isn't there, we can call up every ruck and there'd be something wrong with it. But in the context of the game, it doesn't matter if it's minute 1 or 79. That for me, I'm trying to make this as objective as possible. There's so many rucks in a game of rugby look like that and aren't touched.
Okay, make it subjective and flip the teams around, and the Wallabies score on the death, and Jac Morgan's gone over for the ball and gets cleaned out by Carlo Tizano. Same. How would you look at it then?
I think Jac Morgan would survive the clean-out.
Well played.
Because you know, whether you were a strong lad over the ball, one of the best in the business. I mean, you get over the ball like that and survive that clean out, and it's hard to do that, isn't it? Because that is a proper, good clean, good contest. You win a penalty.
I think you're twisting what I'm saying, though. Let's say the result's the same. So just digging into it, Jac Morgan doesn't survive the clean out because I think Carlo's also very, very good on the ball. He's built to be over the ball pretty much. So, I mean, Jac Morgan does the same, gets bumped out, holds his head like Carlo does, whatever. How would you be looking at it then?
I'd like to say, hypothetically, I'd be like, that's a good clean. That's a good clean.
Can we just have another look at it, just to give Jamie...
It's what shirt you're wearing. It's what shirt you're wearing is what it is. And we think we're robbed in that space there, and the Lions think that that's a good clean-out. It's a super clean-out.
Let's talk about this, right? So, wardrobe of you're not allowed to croc roll anymore.
No.
Okay. How are you meant to clean that player out? You tell me what Jac Morgan could do better.
I'm saying, I think Berkey and I are saying you pretty much have to enter that way, but you stay on your feet or at least try and finish the clean. There is
But
that is a complete kill of the ruck.
Is that not entirely... I don't know that that's an argument anymore. What's he supposed to do? Because...
Well, what you're supposed to do is you lose the impotence at the ruck. You don't get the shot on.
Can we just go through the checklist very clearly? Can we just see it one more time, Trav? And I want to hand it off to Jamie again. So if we just watch this, just watch the detail around this. So does he make contact with his neck, in your opinion?
He makes contact to the top of the back.
And you're a doctor.
Hey guys, I think...
And just watch this.
C8 or C1, boys.
Jamie Roberts, Jac Morgan's out of the play there, lying on the ground. Look at him hold on to Carlo Tizzano, tackles him from the ground. Is that legal?
And what I'll say as Jack, I think there is thought, I need to wrap. Because he probably knows in that moment he completes it. He completes the clean by wrapping. Because you go into that ruck, you go into that clean like that, it's a penalty.
We have the luxury of watching it 30,000 times in slow mo. Jac Morgan and Carlo Tizzano coming in with split-second thoughts. So I don't even think Jac Morgan knows where he's actually aiming. He's just seen someone about to come in. He's going for that, but he's gone off his feet in the action.
Yeah.
Whenever, I mean, you're right, Hoops, we'll watch this 3,000, 4,000, 3 million times, and there is no way that we will ever align in terms of how this goes. So we reached out to World Rugby to try and get some further clarity around what might pop up, knowing the backlash and how it would generate headlines around the world. And the comment back was fairly decisive. World Rugby does not comment on officiating decisions. Yeah. So there's not a whole lot coming back from that neck of the woods. Phil Waugh, the CEO of RA, is demanding a high level of accountability. What does that look like out of interest?
No. What does that mean? The referees get, obviously, refereed, schooled in their own sense. They have their advisors and people who come and assess and that kind of stuff. So, is it the wrong decision? He makes a decision, and I agree with you in part, Jamie, because there's positions on the field where stuff happens, and you get away with it.
It's an imperfect game.
It is an imperfect game, only to be judged after the fact, and that's what we're doing now. Could it have gone either way? It could have. And do we have to agree with it? No, but we have to deal with it, and it means the series is lost 2-0. So you're going to cop. You know, there was a ball last week in the first test. It was a knock on by the Lions, but it was just play on, and you're sitting there going, "Hang on, what's going on?" So everyone sort of stopped. So things happen in a game that you're just going to move on. The accountability of it. Do they get more games afterwards? Do they? I mean, they want to adjudicate at the highest level. But they need to be held responsible at the same time.
Well, that same referee has been held responsible this year. Looking after the URC game. Did you commentate that one? There was a Bulls-Munster game, and he got the wrong... He pinged Munster for not having the right number of players on the field, reducing the 14 when they were entitled to 15. And another moment in the game where the player tapped the ball off the knee rather than the foot, and they scored the only try that ended up being decisive and won them the game. So that does happen. So will there anything happen off this, or will it just be play on? It's just play on.
Play on.
Well, it depends how they view whether it was right or wrong. So, World Rugby will have a process of how they go about it. In terms of the accountability of it all, I'm just interested always in the systems of how that decision gets made, the TMO's involvement in the decision, because the TMO can come in sometimes and go, no, that's reached a threshold. What was the communication like there? I think in terms of a fan and a former player, that you just want there to be a clear system and not be ambiguous on every time. It seemed in the game on the weekend that Piatu, who I think is to make mention, I thought ran an extremely good game. I thought that game was part of the reason why it was such good flow and, both teams got their opportunity to attack is because he managed and refereed the game really well. As opposed to the week before, I don't think that was managed the right way, probably letting too much occur at the ruck. I think in this game, Piatti was quick to set a tone. I like the way he dealt with... captains and, certain things in and around the game. But this is the only thing he's going to get marked on, unfortunately. So I'd like to see the system actually be understood by, TMO comes in here or not, or however it works, it always be the same for decisions like that.
It's fascinating as well. This is the top level of the game. This is the highest profile game in World Rugby for quite a while, right, outside of Rugby World Cups. It would be good to get an explanation from the governing bodies, because it sets a precedent, and it sets a precedent not just how Test rugby players play, how the community game plays as well, right at the bottom of our pyramid. And so I think it is actually important. There is public discourse around it, and from the people at the top.
Are they happy to throw him under the bus, though? Has it been done previous, meaning, World Rugby saying, we don't agree with the decision from the referee?
Oh, that doesn't happen very often.
No, not often.
Also, World Rugby does not comment on officiating decisions.
Yeah.
So I'm in line with that.
You know what a coach does? A good coach comes out and takes all the blame, or for something that might go wrong. Like, I think that's World Rugby's. They're the coach, right? They need to come out and like you say, Jamie, say something. That's
a really good way of using it as a learnings. As sometimes is.
But it sets the precedent, mate. Every kid who now plays the game, they've watched that game and go, right, can I clean like that? Yes, I can, because it wasn't penalised. Yes. And the same goes for Dan Shearer's try.
We'll get to that.
Fine.
No, you're 100% right. I've got the pictures lined up for you to help with that. Right now, I'm going to go back to Morgs, who is inside Wallabies camp. Morgs, what say you, sir?
Well, it sounded to me like Jamie's coming around there at the end about young kids not cleaning out like that. That's the way I took it. No, there's actually lots and lots of layers to peel away. Sean, you said that World Rugby don't comment on refereeing decisions. I think you'll recall the 2015 match where they came out and said that Craig Joubert got it wrong and that Scotland shouldn't have been ruled offside, and the penalty kick for Bernard Foley in that World Cup, they came out and said it should have been a scrum to Australia. So when they say they don't comment, they do when it's big enough, and I think this one's big enough. I expect them to come out and make some sort of statement. I wouldn't be surprised if it was not enough evidence to overturn an on-field try or something in the middle there. But I know people high up at World Rugby, on the executive, and also, of course, in Rugby Australia, want this to go forward and have some sort of accountability and messaging from World Rugby because, and these are the layers to peel away. Like some of the comments have been, if we pull all that away and end up at the actual result. So lots of the comments have been, oh, there's lots of head contact and neck contact in rugby, just like every scrum. Well, this Law 9 that we're talking about only refers at ruck and maul. Law 920 is ruck and maul only. So you can't make contact with head or neck of a player in a ruck or maul. Forget about the rest of the game. And Jamie makes a great point around this happens in hundreds of occasions in a match of rugby. The problem is that once the TMO checks it, they are obliged to adhere to their own laws. Now, these are laws in the Southern Hemisphere we didn't want. James Haskell made some great points around. He would have done 1,000 cleanouts like that throughout his whole career. But he retired in 2019. And since 2019, high contact and the safety of our game. And you guys will know all the examples that have been thrown around clean-outs. There's an excellent one from Retallick against Japan where he gets red carded by Nika Amish-Kelly, who was part of the trio. Like every little incident like that, they're not the same, of course. This Jac Morgan one is very different. But I would have thought that if you look at some of the other ones, this one is at least a penalty. When it goes to TMO, they're obliged to adhere to their own laws, the referees. And the fact that you have, Hoops talks about Jac Morgan going off his feet, maybe you find a penalty there. I'm sure some British and Irish Lions fans think that Carlo Tizzano came in the side or maybe had hands on ground. What you will also realise that if, as it looked like to me, there is neck contact from Jac Morgan, and he's an inch away from perfect. Like he just misses. It's not foul. It's not, he's not trying to hurt anyone. It's nothing grubby. It's just technically, I think he gets him in the neck, right? And that supersedes anyone going off their feet, anyone in the side, or anyone with hands on the ground. Foul play supersedes all of those things and must be a penalty of Australia. They have the whole attacking play. You ask about the TMO protocols. They have that whole attacking play. It's a World Rugby protocol that's foisted upon us in the Southern Hemisphere. It's very different in Super Rugby. We don't go that far back. We do it a little bit differently to speed up the game. But these are the laws for this test series. Once they bring that up, then it is a penalty to Australia. It's unfortunate. The Lions are outstanding. I think we congratulate them straight away on winning the game. One of the great comebacks. Jamie said it was the best test match he's seen. I didn't think I'd see a better test match for the Lions in a series than that 2009 second test. But that was an amazing game of rugby. All those sorts of things get peeled away. Who did this, who did what, the context and all those sorts of things. Some international coaches I've spoken to, Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere, say a bit like you guys, what's he supposed to do? Well, the laws are put in place. What he's supposed to do there, unfortunately, Jac Morgan, is lose the ball. unless he can miss the neck and head and hit the back or slow down, control his feet and try and find a gap between the shoulders of Carlo Tizzano and whatever. In essence, the laws are designed to protect the player's head and neck, which means if you are second, which I think if you look at it, he's just slightly second. If you're second, you're designed to lose the ball. There's some great work done by Sam Warburton and guys like that around jackling and protecting the jackler. Don't forget, 2019 to now, we are about head and neck safety. That's why that sort of has to be a penalty.
Well, he was... thank you, mate. We'll get back to you in a second with Jorgo.
Just a question for you, Morgs, is the TMO had no involvement in it. So my understanding is the referee said, I need to see that again. And so he wants it up on the big screen. So the TMO, they actually did nothing here. So they didn't see it as a penalty. They didn't refer it to Piatti.
Yeah, but once he asks for it, then it becomes a formal review. So once it's up there, they all get their say. The TMO searches the replays for him. That's a review of that action. So at any time the referee can, of course, the TMO could have as well. You saw Harry Wilson come out. You know, it's a big moment in the game. Once that goes up, there's a reason why you don't look at 100 rucks a game, because the referee doesn't ask for it or the TMO doesn't interject. But once it is up there, you have to adhere to that law of no contact around head and neck at a ruck or more.
So Piatti obviously thinks it's fine. And then who was the TMO in the game? Was it Jonker Marius again?
It was Eric Galzan. No, I think Marius was the play review officer, foul play review officer. Eric Galzan from France did it. Yeah, so I think there, what you see there is those sorts of guys. I just think they got it wrong. Their process was great, but when they said that both players arrived simultaneously, I don't think that's the case.
The only reason I bring it up, if Phil was demanding a high level of accountability, then it's all of those people, and we're focusing on Piatti, but it's also a TMO structure there and system that, you know, have also given that the green light, if it is a green light, and that's where it'd be good to hear from World Rugby.
Yeah, and you see Ben O'Keefe very vocal as well. So the assistant referees are all part of that. The team of four, Joel Juch, as we mentioned, is out here in Australia. They will have reviewed the game. Love to hear from him, because they've been so hard on high contact, on making the game safer for, say, 6 years, that we've all tried to adapt. And as former players, we were used to seeing those cleans. Hughes would have done 1,000 of those clean-outs. But now they're not part of the game that high.
All right, back to you in a sec with Maxi Jorgensen, who had a storm the other night, Morgs. Perfect. I will tell you this, that the outcome of that game, that decision alone not going the way that it did, is devastating for rugby in this country in terms of media attention, earned media, eyeballs for this coming game, momentum ahead of the Rugby Championship. That is a big kick. A real big kick for the code in this country.
And what's disappointing is we're looking at one ruck. There's such an amazing test match, like brilliant ebb and flow of momentum, quality rugby, and now all eyes are on one ruck and the consequences of that decision of that ruck, right? It's pretty brutal.